You wake up already behind, not behind on time, behind on your own mind. Before your feet touch the floor, your brain is already sprinting through problems that haven't happened, the unread messages, the meeting you might get exposed in, the weird tone in that reply from last night. Your stomach tightens and you tell yourself it's just morning. But listen closely. This is anxiety putting its shoes on, and you feed it. One thumb, one bright screen, one glance, and suddenly you're not in your room anymore. You're in everyone else's priorities. Work is knocking, news is screaming, group chats are tugging at you like hands underwater. You think you're checking in, but you're actually checking out of yourself. Here's what nobody admits. The first minute of your day is the most defenseless you will be. Your mind is half awake. Your guard is down. You're soft, suggestible, the perfect target for urgency. So the world hits you with a flood, and you call it normal. You call it staying on top of things. But your body doesn't call it that. Your body calls it threat. Most people think anxiety starts when something goes wrong, but that's not how it works. Anxiety starts when your attention becomes someone else's property. It's subtle. You don't feel controlled. You feel informed. You feel ready. But readiness, the way the modern world sells it, is just panic. With better branding, you think you're being responsible. But responsibility without boundaries turns into a life where you're always late to your own thoughts. And the strange part is, nothing has happened yet. No disaster, no crisis, just a glowing rectangle telling you a story. You are needed. You are behind. You are failing. Hurry, so you hurry. You get out of bed with your heart already running. You brush your teeth while your brain rehearses arguments. You drink coffee like it's fuel for a race you didn't agree to enter. You walk into the day already tense, already braced, already convinced the next hit is coming. That's the poison, not the hard day, the preloaded fear. You think the phone is neutral, but it's not. It's a slot machine that pays out stress. Every notification is a tiny alarm bell. Every scroll is a rehearsal for distraction. Your mornings become a doorway where you hand your future to whatever is loudest. And this is the part that stings. Even when you win the day, you still feel chased because you didn't win. You complied. You answered. You reacted. You performed. You did what the day demanded. But you never decided who you would be inside it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The first thing you do in the morning teaches your nervous system what kind of day you're allowed to have. If you start by reacting, your brain learns a brutal lesson. I don't lead here. I respond. I chase. I survive. And the day hasn't even begun. Now picture this. An emperor with the weight of an empire on his shoulders. Wars, betrayals, plague, death hovering in the hallways. He wakes up and he doesn't ask, "What's new?" He asks, "What kind of people will I face and how will I meet them?" You think that's pessimism, but it's armor, because the people who suffer most aren't the ones with hard lives. It's the ones who wake up unprepared and let the first thing they touch decide the tone of their entire existence. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The real battle isn't out there. It's the moment you wake up and decide who gets to touch your mind first. The cruelest part is that it feels like you're choosing it. You tell yourself, "I'll just check quickly." But quickly is a myth. The moment you open that feed, you enter a system designed to keep you there. It doesn't give you information, it gives you momentum. And momentum is the enemy of calm. You think anxiety comes from having too much to do. But a lot of people with packed schedules sleep fine. The sharper truth is this: anxiety comes from not knowing what will hit you next. And training your brain to expect hits, that's exactly what reactive mornings do. Every message is a maybe. Maybe you're in trouble. Maybe you missed something. Maybe someone is disappointed. Your mind hates maybe, so it starts filling the blank with worst-case explanations. You read a short email and invent a whole courtroom. You see one headline and imagine the world collapsing. You scroll past someone's perfect life and quietly put yourself on trial. And you do it before you've even had water? Most people call this being connected. But connection without control is just exposure. Here's a shift. Your morning isn't just a time of day. It's the launch sequence of your identity. Whatever you feed yourself in the first 10 minutes becomes the lens you see everything through. If you feed yourself conflict, you will find conflict. If you feed yourself urgency, everything becomes urgent. Even good things feel heavy when your nervous system is already screaming. And the modern world is brilliant at one thing: manufacturing urgency. It turns small tasks into emergencies. It turns other people's emotions into your responsibility. It turns requests into demands because they arrive with the same sound as real danger: ding, buzz, vibrate. Your body doesn't know the difference between a predator and a notification. It just knows something wants your attention now. So you live on edge, even in the quiet. You think you need more motivation, but what you actually need is a shield, not a motivational quote, not a morning routine aesthetic with perfect sunlight and calm piano. A shield. Because the real threat isn't that your day will be hard. The threat is that you will meet the hard day as the weakest version of yourself. Reactive, scattered, already irritated, already afraid. And when that version of you meets difficult people, it gets ugly fast. A coworker sends a blunt message and you take it personally. A stranger cuts you off and you explode. A small delay happens and you feel disrespected. You think it's them, but it's not them. It's the fact that you started the day with your nerves exposed. Now here's the unexpected truth. The Stoics weren't calm because life was calm. They were calm because they expected resistance. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up and hope for a smooth day. He woke up and reminded himself that he would meet people who were selfish, rude, ungrateful, dishonest. People who would test his patience, not because he hated them, but because being surprised by human behavior is a luxury. And the moment you stop being surprised, you stop being controlled. That's why this matters. If you don't decide what the morning means, the world will decide for you, and it will decide in the language it always uses. Urgent, loud, now. So the question becomes terrifyingly simple. Can you face your day on purpose before it faces you? Imagine a soldier walking into an arena with bare arms, not because he wants to be brave, because he forgot his shield. That's most mornings. We step into the crowd, the noise, the demands, the difficult people with our mind uncovered. Then we act shocked when we take hits. Marcus Aurelius had a different image in his head. He pictured a day like a parade of tests, not random, not personal. Tests that arrive because this is what days do. People misunderstand. Plans break. Bodies get tired. Someone lies. Someone needs you, and it's inconvenient. He wrote reminders to himself before the world could write them for him. That was his morning shield. Not denial, but preloading reality. You think expecting problems makes you negative, but the Stoics treated it like weather. If you know it might rain, you don't curse the sky. You bring a coat. Now zoom out. Marcus was an emperor, but Stoicism didn't belong to emperors. Epictetus was born into slavery, no throne, no security. Yet his message was sharper than any sword. The world can take your comfort, your status, your possessions, but it cannot take your judgment unless you hand it over. He trained people to separate what is theirs from what is not, and that separation is the core of the shield. Then you have Seneca, wealthy, powerful, surrounded by politics that could turn on him overnight. He understood a different danger. The mind tortures itself in advance. It builds monsters out of shadows. It suffers twice, once in imagination, again in reality. So he practiced meeting the worst-case picture while he was calm, so it wouldn't ambush him when he was weak. 3 lives, 3 worlds. One principle: the hit hurts most when it surprises you. Stoicism is not coldness. It's timing. It's choosing when you will think about pain. Most people wait until a moment of impact. The Stoic prepares before impact, when the mind is steady enough to be honest. Here's the metaphor. Every morning, you're at a forge. Your thoughts are heated metal, soft, shapeable. And the first thing you strike them with, fear, urgency, comparison, becomes the shape you carry all day. That's why the morning matters. Not because it's mystical, because it's malleable. Marcus would wake up and rehearse the scene. Today, I'll meet difficult people. He wasn't summoning misery. He was stripping the day of its power to shock him. Epictetus would narrow the lens. What is mine here? Not my boss's mood, not the traffic, not the timing of a reply. Mine is the choice. Mine is the response. Mine is the character I bring. Seneca would whisper the warning you need to hear. Your mind is a storyteller, and if you let it, it will turn every moment into a tragedy audition. So you interrupt the story before it grows teeth. You think the shield is made of toughness, but it's made of clarity. Clarity about what to expect. Clarity about what you control. Clarity about what matters when everything feels loud. And here's the hidden advantage. You don't need heroic willpower at noon if you made a quiet decision at dawn. The shield isn't built to block the world. It's built to stop the world from entering you without permission. Now bring that ancient shield into a modern bedroom. Your arena isn't a battlefield. It's your lock screen. The enemies aren't barbarians. They're tiny red badges, unread counts, seen receipts, a calendar that looks like a threat, a headline designed to spike your pulse, a coworker who sends messages like grenades at 7:12 a.m. You think Marcus had it harder, so his methods don't apply. But that's the twist. The principle matters more now because the attacks arrive faster. Marcus could at least walk to the forum. You wake up and the forum is already in your hand. And the hardest part is that none of it is physical, so you pretend it's not real. You tell yourself it's just information. But your body treats it as a social fight, a status threat, a survival test. Your breath shortens, your jaw tightens, your thoughts run. You don't need a sword to feel hunted. Here's what a reactive morning actually looks like. You wake up. You see one message. It's vague. Your mind translates it into danger. You open your inbox just to be sure. Now there are 10 things. You answer 2. You ignore 8. The ignored 8 become weight. You scroll the news for relief and find more reasons to worry. You check social media and feel behind. Then finally, you stand up, already exhausted. People call that productivity. It's not productivity. It's exposure. This is why so many mornings feel like drowning in shallow water. Nothing huge is happening, yet you're exhausted because your attention is being pulled in 10 directions before you've chosen even one. So what would Marcus do with the phone? He wouldn't smash it. He wouldn't move to a mountain. He'd do something more radical. He'd decide the order. Because the order is everything. If the first thing you read is someone else's urgency, you will carry their urgency like a virus all day. If the first thing you see is other people winning, you will start from deficiency. If the first thing you do is respond, you will become a responder. You think checking your phone first proves you're disciplined, but discipline isn't speed. Discipline is choosing what deserves your mind. Stoicism, translated into modern language, is not a philosophy. It's a filter. A filter that asks 3 questions right at the beginning. What is likely to happen? What is actually under my control? Who do I choose to be when it happens? That's the morning shield, and it changes everything because it converts anxiety from a fog into a list, from an emotion into a plan, from a vague dread into a small number of expected frictions you can actually meet with skill. You think anxiety is mysterious? Most of it is just unclaimed responsibility. Responsibility for other people's moods, for outcomes you can't guarantee, for timing you can't manage, for being liked by everyone, for never making a mistake. The Stoic move is to return what isn't yours, not with arrogance, with precision. When a message arrives, you don't ask, what do they think of me? You ask, what is the task? What is the truth? What is the right response? When a delay happens, you don't say, my day is ruined. You say, this is friction. Friction was scheduled. When a difficult person shows up, you don't act shocked. You say, of course, humans are human. My job is to be steady. And that steadiness doesn't come from luck. It comes from rehearsing the day before the day rehearses you. So the shield is not a ritual. It's decision you make while the world is still quiet enough to hear yourself. Here is the protocol. No mystical music, no perfect sunrise, just a shield you can build in minutes. Step 1, delay the world. When you wake up, don't reach. Don't grab the phone like it's oxygen. Sit up and make one decision before anything else touches you. For the next few minutes, I lead. Breathe slow. Let your eyes focus. Drink water. Feel the room. This isn't wellness. This is you taking the steering wheel back before the road starts moving. You think a few minutes can't matter. But the first minutes are where the tone is set. Win the tone, and you win more than half the day. Step 2, name 3 frictions you're likely to face. Not 10, not a novel. 3, 1 external friction, a person or situation that usually triggers you. The coworker who pushes, the family member who drains you, the client who changes everything last minute. 1 practical friction, the task that has been hanging over you, the thing you've been avoiding, the call, the deadline, the difficult conversation. 1 internal friction, what you know could sabotage you today, low energy, impatience, overthinking, the urge to prove yourself. Write them down or say them quietly. The point is not to scare yourself. The point is to remove surprise. Surprise is where anxiety breeds. Step 3. For each friction, split control from noise. Ask, what part of this is mine? Maybe you can't control the coworker's tone, but you can control your response and the clarity of your boundaries. Maybe you can't control the deadline, but you can control the first 30 minutes of honest work. Maybe you can't control the feeling of anxiety showing up, but you can control whether you obey it. Picture it like a circle. Inside is what you command. Outside is what you influence, predict, or fear. Put your energy inside the circle. That's where power lives. This step is the blade edge of Stoicism, separating reality from interpretation. You stop wrestling shadows. You stop arguing with weather. Step 4. Choose one virtue to carry like a weapon, not 5. 1. If your friction is anger, choose patience. If your friction is fear, choose courage. If your friction is distraction, choose discipline. If your friction is ego, choose humility. If your friction is resentment, choose fairness. Then define it in one sentence that you can actually follow. Something like, today, patience means I pause before I reply. Or, today, courage means I start the hard task first. Make it simple. Make it measurable. You're not becoming a monk. You're becoming harder to push around. Step 5. Take one action before you open the gates. Do something small that proves you're already in control. Send one calm, clear message you've been avoiding. Draft the first paragraph of the hardest task. Lay out your plan for the next hour. Do 10 slow breaths with your shoulders down. Write the first line of your day's intention. Then, and only then, touch your phone. Why? Because you're training your nervous system. You're telling it, we don't start by being invaded. We start by choosing. And if you miss a morning, you don't quit. You rebuild the shield the next day. That's the practice. You think this is too simple to work. That's exactly why it works. Anxiety doesn't need a huge enemy. It needs a tiny opening. Close the opening, and the entire day feels different. Now the challenge. 7 days. No reactive mornings. That doesn't mean you become perfect. It means you stop letting the first punch land for free. For the next week, the rule is simple. You do not open your phone until the shield is built. Not until you delay the world. Not until you name the 3 frictions. Not until you split control from noise. Not until you choose your virtue. Not until you take one deliberate action. You'll feel resistance immediately. Your mind will say, but what if something happened? What if I missed something? What if I'm needed? That's not responsibility talking. That's addiction to urgency. That's the old habit defending itself like it's fighting for your survival. Here's the reframe. If it's truly urgent, it will still be urgent in 10 minutes. And if it isn't, then why were you handing it your soul before breakfast? Set yourself up to win. Put the phone out of arm's reach at night. Use a real alarm if you can. If you can't, at least keep the screen face down and the notification silent. Make the first reach in the morning a reach for water, for light, for breath, not for other people's problems. Because the challenge isn't about the phone. It's about the reflex. Day 1 will feel strange. Quiet can feel like danger when you're used to noise. You'll reach for the phone automatically like a twitch. When you catch it, don't shame yourself. Just notice, this is what control looks like at the start. Small, awkward, honest. Day 2, your brain will bargain. I'll just check the calendar. I'll just check work. I'll just check one thing. One thing becomes 10. 10 becomes a mood. The mood becomes your day. Day 3 is where you'll want to quit, because that's when you start seeing the pattern. You'll realize how often you are waking up and immediately looking for a reason to be stressed, not because you wanted pain, because the brain prefers familiar pain to unfamiliar calm. You think calm is your default. For most people, calm is a skill, and skills feel unnatural until they become you. So give yourself a simple score at the end of each morning. 3 checks. Nothing dramatic. Did I delay the world? Did I choose a virtue? Did I act before I reacted? If you hit 2 out of 3, that's progress. If you hit all 3, that's power. If you hit 0, that's information. Not failure, information. By day 5, something shifts. You start meeting problems with space between stimulus and response. You start reading messages without your heart racing. You start hearing someone's tone without instantly inserting story. Your day still has friction, but it doesn't own you. You own the angle you meet it from. And then comes the unexpected benefit. Your mind stops treating the day like an ambush. You're still busy. You still have pressure, but you're not waking up into panic. You're waking up into posture. And that posture spreads into your commute, into your conversations, into the way you handle mistakes without turning them into identity. You're not trying to create a perfect morning. You're trying to create a morning that cannot be hijacked. So each night, ask one question. Did I start on purpose? Not, did I get everything done? Not, did everyone like me? Not, did the world behave? Just, did I begin as the person I chose? Because that's what Marcus was doing in those private notes. He wasn't writing philosophy for an audience. He was reminding himself who he was supposed to be before the crowd arrived. Now you do the same. And when the week ends, don't look for fireworks. Look for silence. The quiet kind. The kind that shows up when you wake up and realize the day is here. But you are not behind. You are early, early enough to choose, early enough to carry your shield, early enough to walk into difficulty without giving it your mind first.